Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Thanks for tuning in. Today's been a highly requested video. Well, not really, because I only got 60 subs, but I thought it might be useful for some people out there who are trying to learn to kickflip or trying to learn to do any tricks in general. So just bear with me a little bit. I just been to the dentist, so I might struggle with my talking more than usual, which is pretty bad anyway, but yeah, so let's get into it. So today I'm going to run over how I learned to kickflip in 2 hours. And this is not 2 hours straight on the board. I break my trick learning up into segments. Like I only spend 10-15 minutes per session trying a trick. I find that helps me personally just like be able to break it down a little bit better, especially if you're recording yourself. I look at the footage afterwards, check if what I'm doing right, check what I'm doing wrong, have a sleep on it, have a think of how I'm doing the trick and how can I sort of improve on that trick, other than just like trying to plow out 2 hours straight. You're just banging your head against the wall, in my opinion, or that's what I find. I get frustrated and it just makes me want to give up, so I might as well just do it in 10 minutes and move to another trick. Like at the same time I was doing stupid things, trying to learn to do varial kickflips at the same time, which was just silly, but I was getting them close-ish as well. So, but ideally just concentrate on one trick at a time. Don't worry guys, there will be some footage too in this video. It won't be me just talking. There will be like footage. So first thing you want to do is be very comfortable on your board. You want to be able to ride around, you want to be able to ollie. Yeah, you want to be able to ollie, riding off gutters. Just be comfortable on your board. You want to have a decent balance too, because your feet placement aren't going to be where you normally do an ollie. They're going to be a bit separated, a bit hanging off the board. If anyone else has been like looking at tutorials on how to kickflip, they sort of understand that general foot positioning. So this is not going to be a natural foot positioning, and it will take some balance. In my opinion, that's what I found. I found it a little bit hard to balance first, which even so, I've been skating for 4 months now, and I hadn't even thought about, or I had thought about it, but I hadn't even bothered trying to do a kickflip in that 4 months, because I knew I was like nowhere near like stable enough or confident enough to even try. So I just thought I'd just leave it aside, get better at all the other fundamentals, like doing my ollie 180s, grinding on ledges and stuff like that, and that I think personally helped me be able to land this kickflip in 2 hours of board time anyway. So let's have a look at some of the footage of the earlier days or time on the board. I reckon it would have been about 30 minutes to 45 minutes on the board. I didn't film any time or any footage before that, so it was like a lot of it was just practice with the flick, and it was just very bad. Like I even tried using something that could be very helpful for people out there, is use a rail or a pole to hold yourself onto and like flick and do all the work off that. That will help you keep your shoulders straight, and it will help you, give you confidence, and you'll be able to hold yourself up longer to for the board to rotate or do anything under you. That can be applied to any trick. As you can see, some of the problems I'm having here while doing my kickflips during this time was I'm struggling to like get that right flick. I just kept either like popping, leaving my back foot on the ground, or I would just kick it into the next postcode. Like my front foot just flicks straight out instead of up and off to the side. That's the main issue that I had for the first hour and a half of trying to do these, is mentally and like even like what's the word, like physically able to like tell my leg not to go straight and like go off to the side. I was struggling with that. That's the biggest struggle that I reckon I had. Well, not the big, yeah, probably one of the main struggles I had trying to do this trick. I kept trying to tell my brain to just flick it off to the side, just flick it off the side. I'd sit there, I'd practice it. One of the issues when I was practicing it though, I was like opening up my shoulders, so that would in turn rotate the board when I do eventually get the flick. but I also was forgetting to use my toe to flick it. So when you're using your full foot to, when you drag it up the board and flick it off, you'll find that you'll connect a lot of the board, and that's what I was doing a lot of the time. Just like I mentioned, just connecting it and connecting the whole board and just like flicking off a meter or a meter and a half in front of me, and that was yeah, it wasn't good. Especially if you're like at the skate park like practicing, and then like you kick it off and you kick it into someone's way, and that actually happened once, but luckily the guy was pretty cool about it. So make sure you make, like one of the big ones was like, yeah, use that toe. You know, I was like just using my whole foot, like practicing. I was pretty much doing an ollie but trying a kickflip, and it wasn't getting the results that I needed. Just to talk about that practice step of the flicking of the foot up the board, one thing that like they don't tell you in every tutorial is that like every tutorial you like, oh yeah, bring your foot up the board, flick it off, bring your foot, flick, and they're always generally turning their shoulders and their hips, which is like can just lead to disaster. Well, I don't think they tell you to do that, but it just naturally happens because you're just like opening your body up to be able to do that motion naturally. Oh, that's what I found anyway. So after, I reckon this is where it sort of clicked more. It's like would have been about an hour and a half of like trying the kickflip. So I had to make sure my shoulders were straight over the board, and even in the practice step, like hold onto something or do anything you need to do to try and not move your shoulders or hips, just so you can get that leg movement out from under you that you'd want when you're actually doing the trick. So practice it as you would be doing the trick, because I reckon that set me back a little bit of time, because when you're opening up your hips and like flicking out, you're gonna flick the board behind you and out in front of you, which like if you like a lot of these attempts that I've been doing, if you have a look at a couple of here, that I'm opening up, I'm flicking, and the board, it's flicking and spinning. It's all one, it's rocketing, and two, it's going out in front of me and behind me as well. There's two things that I needed to do to fix that as well. One of them was like had to be a bit more over my front foot, because I was sitting too far in the back seat. So if you lean too far back in any trick, that is, the board, it's just like natural physics. If you lean too far back, the board is gonna like shoot out in front of you. And I really should have used a further camera angle so you can see more of my hands. But yeah, you lean back, the board's gonna shoot out in front. So I needed to shift my weight a bit more over my front foot, and when that was happening, the board would stay a bit more centered. So that's where the commitment needs to come into it, where you're like, it is a little bit more scarier, but nothing's going to happen really. Like even if you land primo or the board upside, the best thing you could do is if you flip the board halfway over and land on it, just stomp it, because that will give you the confidence that the board can spin under you, you stomp it, and it's not going to go nowhere. The only way you're going to slip on your ass is if you flip it and then decide to like shift your body weight to the side, and then it'll move out. And it's the same principle of like riding a ramp. Not that I'm great at it, but the main principle of riding ramps is you make sure you keep your shoulders parallel with the ramp. Because if you go up like a ramp like that, and your shoulders are this, you'll go up and you'll come down. But if your shoulders are flat, your shoulders you'll go up, but when you come down, all the weight is on the back and you'll just like slip out. And that's why everyone who either tries to learn to drop in, which I still have to do, or just riding ramps, they'll go up fine, but when coming back down, because their shoulders haven't like leveled out, so their weight hasn't transferred over, it will just slip straight back out. So that's the worst case scenario, which won't happen too often unless you're throwing your shoulders around. So just trying to keep those shoulders leveled over the board. Another thing that helps is like, other than like leaning over forward to stop the board shooting out in front of you, I found personally jumping backwards helped keep the board under me. I don't know why, but I don't know if that's on a thing for everyone, but if I just jump back that little bit after like popping, or popping, dragging and flicking and then jump, the board will stay more under me. We'll see, I'm progressing a little bit here. I feel like I'm getting a bit closer. I'm still flicking it behind me. A lot of rocketing. One thing that I did find that helped me along the process of getting more consistent flick and more flatter flick as well, or leveling it out, was that I delayed the flick. So it's not so much just a flick. So for me, in my head, I have to break everything down. So it's like a pop, I drag my foot up the board, because you don't want to just drag straight. So drag it up on your toes too. So not, well, this is personal, this is how I figured, this is how I've done it. Drag it up on my toes and then out and flick. And that will cause the board to level out more times than not. And you do that with your weight over the front, hop back a little bit, and voila, we got ourselves a kickflip. After we put all those steps together, making sure you pop, lift your back foot, because that's something that will cause a rocket as well, even when you do rocket ollies. Something I always forget to do still, while I've been skating for 4 months, is that you got to pop and lift your back foot. If you're not lifting your back foot, the board's got nowhere to go, so it's just gonna like stay like that, and it's like a rocket. With all the steps put together, I landed a couple here on film. I did land 2 days earlier at the skate park, but obviously I wasn't filming, so I did a few here, battled my way through it. Funnily enough, I was getting a little frustrated. I looked up there, I looked in the garage, and I found an old board that's probably like 14 years old. It's an old hardcore board. It's been sitting in the weather, rain, waterlogged, and I actually landed a kickflip on that, funnily enough. So yeah, it was so random. But then I landed a good one, I reckon, on my normal deck. And since then, I've landed a handful more, and I feel like my flick is getting more consistent. I still just practice 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes here or 10 minutes there. It's just like anything with skating, it's just, for me, it's small increments. Try and do it daily or every second day. It's just like progress that little bit further each time. But anyway, I haven't landed one rolling yet, so I've landed in 1 foot rolling. It's a different beast rolling. It's actually raining right now, so it's meant to be raining this weekend, so we can't really skate outside. Might go to an underground car park, but yeah, it's still a kickflip, I reckon. I've landed probably almost 10 in the last week or 2, which is good. It's just like, yep, just keep at it, keep progressing, keep trying. Heel flips are on the agenda now, which is like, again, just absolute mindfuck. Like here are a couple of my attempts, and they are just like, I'm popschooling myself pretty much every time. It's the scarier trick in my opinion than a kickflip. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Really appreciate it if you've made it this far, or you subscribe to the channel. It means a lot. Slowly ticking there. 30. I checked before. 30 subs off 100. The aim is 100, so hopefully I can get there soon. So smash that like button. Consider subscribing, and I'll catch you in another video soon. Peace.